Hello, welcome to Limit Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I am Zeke Lamone, and today we are going to do something a little different here. Usually we have the Lemmy versus Limey games going on, or I do a new movie review, and love doing all those. But I am not a person who likes to do the same thing over and over again. I want this channel to have a variety of different things here, of things that I like to do. So we are going to debate something, and now obviously I don't have anyone to go against me in this debate. So I got an article here that I don't quite fully agree with, and I am going to try to call it down the middle. Obviously, I'm going to try not to be biased. I'm not going to try to let my own personal beliefs in. I am someone who enjoys debating with people. I do not like to use the word argue that much. Arguments and debating are completely two different things. Arguing is like an actual fight, if you will, just no fist, and it goes nowhere. An argument leads nowhere. But a debate, it's what an argument should actually be, to me personally, which is two people facing a problem. And, they're just trying to solve it, whether they agree to disagree, and there's a respectfulness about it as to arguing. It's kind of like you're trying to belittle the person for feeling the way that they're feeling. So I never try to be that way. And the article that I got here, well, it's a post from Reddit. I'm just calling it an article because it's kind of a long one. So y'all call it from that. And this came out 2 years ago, and it's titled, "Most Marvel Movies Are Insanely Overrated." As you can tell from the background, Iron Man here. Nope, that's the Greatest Showman over here. And the Spider-Man shirt that I am wearing. I am obviously a Marvel fan. I enjoy those movies quite a bit. So I do not think that they are insanely overrated, but this person does. So I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to pause every now and then to show why I disagree with that thing. And I also got some comments here that agree with the person as well. And then at the end, I will rate it to see how they did on it, on the lemon scale, which is, basically if it's bad, sour lemon, bad but kind of good, expired store-bought, good but needs some work, store-bought lemonade, it's good, it's fine, nothing to run home about, but it's good. Lemonade, really good, minor nitpicks, freshly squeezed lemonade, a 100% strawberry lemonade, because that is the best kind of lemonade. I have yet to have a better one, although I did have this blueberry lemonade that was actually pretty good from somewhere. I'm not going to say the actual store name because I don't know if that falls into copyright or anything. But anyway, before we get into this, I feel like I should address it about the unfortunate death of Chadwick Boseman, our Black Panther, our king, if you will. Very, very sad. I didn't believe it at first. It was like one of those things that you just don't buy at all. Because the day that he died, I got home from work, and I don't know why I was so tired. Really wasn't that much of a workload day at work. It was actually kind of slow, but I got home, did my workout, and then took a shower, laid in bed, closed my eyes. It was around 6 p.m., and I did not wake up until 5 a.m. So yeah, good, 11 hours? Yeah, 11 hours of sleep. And, I get my phone, I'm checking, my phone's blowing up. I'm like, holy crap, this never happens. I never get this many notifications. And the first thing I see is that, hey, the guy who played Black Panther died. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Sure he did. Like, I'm thinking he's joking, which is something you don't joke about, but, it's Black Panther. He can't die. He's immortal. Is what it feels like. And then, soon enough, I get to my actual news notification feed that I have, and it says, Chadwick Boseman, known for his role in 42, and Black Panther has passed away due to colon cancer. I was like, oh my god, it is real. And, I just kept reading, because I was like, nah, it's fake. Like, I just don't believe, that's the thing with these kinds of characters, is that, all of them are, like, immortal now. Like, we just don't expect them to die. Like, I also remember Stan Lee's death. We were just like, no. He created the super. He can't go. Like, it sucks. It really sucks because he was great in it. I am not the hugest fan of Black Panther. I enjoy it. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I really like it. I think that movie is the best representation of women of any of the Marvel movies, beating Captain Marvel. Those women in those movies are in that movie are just strong to be strong, and just apps. I applaud that movie so much for how they portray women in that movie. But besides that, I feel like it's just the live action Lion King that we actually wanted and not that CGI fest that we got personally. But, that's neither here or there. But, now that's out of the way, let's actually get into what we're here and let's debate whether most Marvel movies are insanely overrated. Now, this post comes us from Senate X, and he wrote this before Infinity War was coming out, so about 2 years ago. So he starts off by saying, "Oh boy, I'm walking right into a minefield with Infinity War coming out. I don't even know where to start with this one, but my issue is that most of them just feel the same, if not very similar to me." Okay, so that's one sentence. They all feel the same, if not very similar to me. Okay, that's honestly a very fair point that he points out. I can actually get behind that. One of my main critiques with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, love them, but is the use of comedy in it. Now, Phase 1 with Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, I sometimes forget that movie's even a thing. I think Marvel does too, or they want to anyway. Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America the First Avenger, they're all very different from everything else that came out. Like, really, watch those four and then you watch Avengers Assemble from on, completely different movies. Because they don't rely on humor so much and, like, quick wits and murks and all that, and pop culture references, like they were actually just being their own movie. And I feel like that is from the Joss Whedon formula that's in it. So, like, now Joss Whedon's out of Marvel. Joss Whedon directed the first Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron before the Russo brothers took over for Infinity War and Endgame. And Civil War, other movies as well. But his formula is in these movies forward from there, which was, the quick pop culture reference, witty remarks, and so on and so forth. Most of us, if not all of us, have seen a Marvel movie. We know what we're talking about, and sometimes it's just not needed. And I can actually get behind our friend SynthX here with that, because, like, one of my main complaints with it is because of that. I'm pretty sure I've already said that. I'm sorry if I'm being redundant. But, like, in Doctor Strange, I always point out to this one quite a bit. And I think some people may know what I am talking about here. And it's the moment where, like, he's suiting up after his trainer died, or the Sorcerer Supreme. It left my mind for a little bit. When she dies and, he's suiting up for the first time. It's like this big, big moment. It's like supposed to be, like, really dramatic. Okay, he's about to actually go in and battle Dormammu. And then the cape comes up and, like, sheds the tear for him. It's just like, you built up this awesome moment, and then you're like, joke. Just didn't need that. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is one of my least favorite ones. A lot of people really like that one, but, I mean, most of that movie is just set up for a joke. Like, almost every line. And I love James Gunn's writing and directing, but that one, I was very close, because I love the first one so much. And it has a lot of jokes in it, but also has a lot of seriousness to it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is mostly just joke after joke after joke, especially how they do Drax the Destroyer. He doesn't even destroy anything. He only has one fight scene. Like, what the heck is up with that? He's just a big joke now. And so I can see his point to that. But what I would argue with that, you see, now that is where the debate comes in, is that you have to point out, look, you make a good point, but let me explain why you're wrong. Each movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a different genre. It's not just the Phase 1 one. Now, Captain America the Winter Soldier, which is a movie that I am not the hugest fan of. I know a lot of people love that movie, and I applaud that. I am all for it. But I am not the hugest fan of that movie. But it is vastly different from any other one. That is a spy thriller. That is like a James Bond type movie, where, you know, it's about one guy going to mission, he's going rogue, and he's fighting around all that. Very, very different from Iron Man 3, which is kind of a Christmas holiday movie. It's a feel-good movie, kind of. Thor Ragnarok is a comedy, but I would also argue is the darkest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that dude loses his eye. I'm using my hands here as if y'all can see him. Y'all can't. He lost his eye. He lost his whole entire home. He lost his dad. His sister was evil. He lost his hammer. Like, movie's dark. Movie's really, really dark. I mean, it looks bright, but it's really, really dark. It just has a mixture of jokes in there. And I guess at the end of the day, it's a comedy, but it's a really dark film. Like, every single one is different, is what I'm saying. I can go on and on and on about it, but that's what my argument to you would be. Like, if you're saying they're the same just as far as tone goes, okay, you can have that point. But they are not all the same movie, which is what I think that you are trying to argue here. So it just feels the same. Okay, if not very similar to me. Okay, so you say they just feel the same, which we can agree on, but if not very similar to me, which is where we disagree, because I do not think every single movie is the same. Alright, that's only one sentence, so let's move on. I've seen a good bit of these movies in the past few years. Well, what movies did you see? So that way we can debate those out, man. Come on. But I've just stopped going out and paying to see them anymore, just because of how average they're all starting to feel. Now, what to you is average? Let's see if he continues on to back that claim here. Average they are starting to feel. Don't get me wrong. I can respect everything positive this series has done for the genre. Okay. Alright. Point out props. Good on you. But it's gotten to the point where I'm no longer interested in seeing most of them anymore, because of how I can walk into the theater and know exactly how it'll play out. The same sort of direction and plots, the same sort of writing, very similar visuals, and the quips. Don't even get me started on the quips, he says. Or she says. It didn't have a picture, it was like an animated photo. So many of these movies rely on these stupid, witty remarks every 20 seconds. Something I said. They've gotten so sick that I've gotten so sick of hearing them. Remember when the cliche was having superhero movies be some dark and gritty take on the source material? It's gone from that to the norm being making your movie into a family comedy that everyone can go in and enjoy. Well, yeah! The only ones who are really doing dark and gritty were DC. Hell, they still are. And I enjoy those movies for what they are. Not every movie needs to be the same. You may enjoy dark and gritty, but someone else may want fun. I enjoy a dark and gritty story. I can get behind it, but I have a friend who is not a fan of those, finds them boring, and honestly, there's no real happy ending. Some people, you know, like they go to watch these movies for an escape, so they enjoy these movies. Now, again, I would also argue again to bring back Thor Ragnarok. That is a dark and gritty story if you really look at it. The man loses an eye. He lost his dad. His sister was evil. He had to kill his sister. His whole entire home was destroyed. It's a very dark story. It just has some jokes in it, but you can't get behind the witty quips. Now, it doesn't seem like you're just stating your opinion, and that is fine. You're not trying to make a fact, as some of these comments are that we are going to get into in a little bit. But yeah, I would argue with you that not every single movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a happy, friendly family film. They all may feel that way, which is probably what you're mainly trying to get at, but some of these stories are very dark and gritty. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Again, a movie I'm not a huge fan of. In that movie, Star-Lord's dad, well, I guess spoilers for every Marvel movie, if you haven't guessed, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, you may not have seen it. You may have stopped watching at this point, which is totally fine. But I will also bring that movie up if you would have kept going. The man's father killed his mother. It's about as dark as it gets. And through that whole entire movie, one sister is trying to kill the other. There's nothing family-friendly about that. Literally trying to kill the woman.
It's just in a different kind of tone. Can't every movie be Batman or Joker or Man of Steel for that matter? Marvel can't be DC, DC can't be Marvel. That's why, when DC tried to do its cinematic universe, it failed. It just failed. Because not everything can be Marvel. Or any other movie that tried to be Marvel after that, for that matter. So, let's carry on. I'm seeing your points, but I'm just not fully believing you. Well, agreeing with you, I should say. So many of them, I just feel inconsequential to the whole cinematic universe they set up as well. Interesting. And when it does matter, it seems it's so they can squeeze these characters into another 120 minutes onto the silver screen. Unconsequential. Well, I'm not the smartest person in the world.
A few moments later.
Yeah. Inconsequential, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. I was saying unconsequential. It's inconsequential. Bleh. I can't say it anymore. But yeah, I was basically right. It just means it's not significant, it's not important. Okay. So, what he's probably referring to, granted, it depends on when he stopped watching. But let's keep reading here to see if he brings that up. Granted, when I read this the first time, I kind of just skimmed through it because I wanted to have like a natural feel for when I'm debating and arguing with him. Because I didn't really set up or anything. I didn't look up anything, all that. I'm going by vast memory here. On the silver screen. Oh, okay. I'm not going to talk on Infinity War because I haven't seen it, and I'm not planning on it. Alright. Well, at least he's being honest that he's not going to talk crap about a movie. But I'm having trouble pointing out anyone in the past who actually been killed off in one of these movies and not brought back later. Well, Quicksilver. I'm getting a pen so I can actually mark down where I'm at, so that there's not a lot of pauses for dragging that end out. Quicksilver from Avengers Age of Ultron. He got killed off and he has never been brought back. A movie that came out 2 years after a character died, and I do not see that character coming back for a while. But let's keep going. If they do kill someone, it seems like it's seemingly always someone no one gives a shit about. Because they're exclusive to that film. Quicksilver was exclusive to Age of Ultron, so he has a point. And that just doesn't interest me. That's fair. In scene, always, exclusive to that film. And that doesn't interest me. In scene, always happens. A little mess up on the writing there, but it's okay. I'm a horrible writer as well. So, I'm not going to take points off for you for that, because that'd be hypocritical of me. Very hypocritical of me. I want these movies to carry some weight. But, if what I'm seeing is just a big fight, where their only consequence is another big fight later on, I don't feel like there's a point in me showing up to begin with. Well, then why do you show up for any other movie? For stakes? For love? Maybe a mystery here and there? Maybe they'll solve it? With any movie, it has a beginning, middle, and end. Let me see how I can word this for where I'm going. Because you're saying it's a fight here to build up here. Because they were all building up to the same thing. All these Marvel movies are building up to the same thing. Because they're all in the shared cinematic universe, and that's Endgame. It's the end. It's Infinity War. This is wrapping it up. And you didn't see Infinity War or Endgame and all that, so I'm gonna try my best to leave those movies out, because that's not a fair argument for me to make with you. It's like, oh, but if you do watch these and all that, but you never gave me a timetable for when you stopped watching, I'm drawing the line at Infinity War because you're saying that you're not planning on seeing it at all. Granted, this was 2 years ago. Maybe you got suckered into seeing it because, the movie did make almost $2 billion at the box office. But anyway, I'm going to leave Infinity War out. They were all leading up to the same thing, which was Endgame. And now, again, I'm not going to bring that up because that's not fair to bring up against you. Now, however, is that those were building up to that. If that's the case, then just skip those movies, go straight to Endgame if you want to see how it truly ends, which is, granted, one big fight, but still a big fight. It's wrapping up all the storylines. That's why we continue to watch, because, the MCU is basically it's the most expensive TV show ever made. Where every episode is roughly $100 million to $225 million to make. So that's where my argument will go with you, is that, yeah, and each movie is just one fight to set up a bigger fight later on. But, you know, you want to watch the next episode, which is the same with any other movie. You want to watch for a good story from beginning, middle, end. It's just unfortunate that the MCU is a story that goes through 23 movies. Or 24 now that Black Widow's coming out in November, and I think that's really part of the Infinity Saga, even though it's kicking off Phase 4. Alright. I don't feel like there's a point to me showing up to begin with. And again, these movies just cannot be for you, and that's completely fine. That's another thing I want to get through this. Neither me or him is right. No one's right. This is just a debate, we're just discussing, and I'm just pointing out my feelings, and he's pointing out his feelings, and, you know, y'all are free amongst to discuss among yourselves, and all of y'all's opinions are right. So if y'all do debate in the comment section, which I encourage, debate, talks amongst yourself, because you cannot get smarter if you keep meeting the people who think exactly like you. I think this really broadens your horizons and everything. But just be respectful. Don't be mean. Don't belittle the person. Just, you know, like, hey, you make a good point. I disagree. I just don't see where you're coming from. I see it this way, you know, come on, we know how to be good people. I've noticed the only Marvel movies I do like were ones like Logan. Okay, so now we've expanded the argument. We've expanded the argument here. I'm going to keep reading, but we've expanded the argument here. And it seemed like that's because they do the exact opposite of what my agreements were here. There's a reason for that. But I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to finish this paragraph, and then I'm going to explain why this argument has been expanded now to where you had a point to now you've almost completely faltered it. They actually killed the main characters off. They didn't need the quips to have a point. And ending the character's appearance in the movies on a strong note. For now. So, this is a understandably misunderstanding throughout people who are not really big movie fans like me and other people. Or really big comic book fans, and they just see, oh, it's a comic book movie coming out. Is that all Marvel movies are made from Marvel Studios, which is not true. So now the argument has been expanded from not just the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but from the X-Men universe and the Spider-Man universe, and moving on and so forth. So, Logan is not part of the MCU, and it's not made from Marvel Studios. It's an association of Marvel because it's a Marvel property, but it's not made from those. Logan was part of Fox. Fox made Logan. Fox made Deadpool. Fox made all the X-Men movies. For now, until Disney bought them out. So sure, now they are all under the same umbrella, but as of when he wrote this, it was under the Fox banter. So that's completely different. So now we can bring in the Spider-Man movies from Sony, since we're going to talk about everything Marvel and every single Marvel movie that's been made, not just in Marvel Studios, but just in the MCU, which is where you're making a strong argument. I'm like, yes, I can see where you're coming from. I totally get it, man. I see it differently, but you have a strong argument. But now, your argument is almost completely not worthy, because every X-Men movie is not a Marvel. It's not like MCU at all. Hell, I don't think any of them are. I'm not the hugest fan of the X-Men movies. I'll be the first to say it. A lot of them are hit or miss for me. I like First Class, and I like Apocalypse, I like Logan, and I like the Deadpool movies. After that, I'm not the hugest fan of them. I don't even like the first two original X-Men movies. I know that's going to give me a lot of heat from my fellow Marvel fans, but that's just how I feel. And none of them are like the Marvel movies today. None of them are. Not First Class. Not even Apocalypse, and I know that one's going to give me a lot of hate, because a lot of people do not like Apocalypse. But I actually got a kick out of it. I thought it was actually kind of fun. I enjoyed it. Days of Future Past, that one was actually pretty decent too. That one was fine, but I like Apocalypse more. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate, but whatever. All those are very, very different movies. The Spider-Man movies from Sony, completely different. Completely different. Venom, also completely different. Yes, it has some quirky jokes and all that, but completely different movie. Marvel is not going to use the word pussy. Now, look, one word does not make it different from it. But they're not going to say Venom is not that much of a family movie. It has some horror elements to it. Marvel hasn't done a horror movie yet. There's some talks that Doctor Strange might be it, but they're not doing that. It's not really going to be a horror movie. What else? Yeah, that's really it. I mean, we expanded the argument here. And, yeah, I think you really hurt yourself right there. Alright. I'm seriously not trying to be some hipster here for this. And if you can still enjoy these movies, that's fantastic. You got something out of it I can't. They just really aren't for me anymore. And you see, great ending here, and this is why I chose it. Because it's a respectful matter. He's sustained his opinion and what he thinks about it and all that. But at the end of the day, if there's people who enjoy it, that's fine. Because that's the thing, all film is subjective. We are all allowed to like things and not like things. So yeah, he's just saying that he doesn't agree. And that is completely fine. That's completely fine. He doesn't see the appeal of the Marvel movies, and that's completely okay. But some other people also agree, and they have some different ways of expressing it. So now, let's get into those, shall we? This comes from Techno Breaker, and I think he comments a couple of times here. Joking in the middle of a serious situation does not make it funny. It makes it extremely annoying. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so that's the main thing he doesn't like. That's the thing I don't like. Back to Thor Ragnarok, which is a movie I absolutely really enjoy. But as the destruction of Asgard is happening, he goes, oh yeah, we could rebuild, and then blows up. Never mind. Like, yeah, very serious moment. Killed it. Doctor Strange, he's getting ready to go into the final battle. Cave comes in to wipe a tear. Doesn't make any sense. Now sometimes it does work, like in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Again, a movie I'm not the hugest fan of, but I will give it props for this, is after that final battle, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That's where it works. But in other times, and sometimes, maybe most of the time, it does not work. So, Techno Breaker, I can get behind you on that. I can say, okay, that's a fair criticism to make. This comes from the Gotham Knight 91. What an awesome name. Alright, I agree. I think they are completely made competently made movies. I hope I said that word right. I most likely did not. I think I'm dyslexic, to be honest with y'all. It's really hard for me to read. That are fairly consistent in quality. He's giving props. Yet are overwhelmingly average. Average. I have a problem speaking my R's. Bland and have no soul. Have no soul, he said. Wow. I see them less as movies and more as a carefully crafted product created in a boardroom by a bunch of suits trying to squeeze every penny out of the masses. Well, let me tell you, Gotham Knight 91, every movie, it's a bunch of suits trying to get every single penny out of you, because that's how they stay in business. It's not just these Marvel movies. It's the little small movies like An Invisible Man, A Get Out, and Us, a Dark Knight movie. Every single movie is made for us to spend our money on. So, you can't say that just about that movie. It's every single movie made. I hate that argument. I really hate, I hate it when people say, oh, they just want my money. Well, yeah. What do you expect? Alright. For the budget each film gets, they should blow me away. So, what our friend Gotham Knight 91 is saying here is that if you're going to spend $100 million to $225 million on a movie, it should automatically be amazing. I disagree. Granted, if you're going to, the studio, if it's going to put out that much money, it should be pretty good for the vast majority. I can get behind that. I guess. Well, I guess I don't really have an argument against them, do I? See, like I said, I'm off the cuff here. I'm just spilling out my thoughts as I go. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, blow you away. Because I've seen films that are made for 10 to 15 million. Hell, I love Paranormal Activity. That movie blew me absolutely away, and that was only $15,000. So, I don't know. I have to really think about that one. That goes for all huge budget blockbusters, not just Disney's. Okay. Alright, so, you continue on. Like I said, I literally skimmed through these. Like, I was like, okay, he disagrees, so I'm mad at this. Focus a little more on character development and writing a great script. Oh, okay. Give us characters that we can feel something for, whether it's hatred or love. I would rather leave the theater feeling something other than apathy. Alright, my friend. So you want character development. Let's take the two biggest stars in the Avengers. Well, two of the three. Which is Iron Man. Yeah. And Captain America. I don't have a Captain America poster, otherwise I would like... anyway. Wolverine's here. Anyway. Those arcs are completely different. Captain America, Steve Rogers, started as a man who trusted the government completely. What are the orders, sir? I will do whatever you say, sir. Iron Man started from the very first movie, the movie that started it all. Never cared for rules. I'm a beat to my own drum. Hey, you should ride with me. Nah, I'm gonna ride in this car with them. They're fun, and they don't make me do stuff. Captain America Civil War, they're completely flipped. Iron Man's like, yep, whatever the government wants me to do. Captain America, no. If I see something wrong, I'm gonna ride it myself. That is character development. Thor, the mighty Thor. You can do no wrong. Arrogant son of a gun. Love him. Absolutely great. Love Thor. Endgame, or Infinity War, he misses the head. He goes into a depression. He gets super fat. He feels like he's not worthy anymore. Hell, my favorite scene in Avengers Endgame is when he grabs the hammer. Now, I'm bringing up Endgame and Infinity War now, because I don't know what movies our friend Gotham Knight has seen. I don't know if he's seen every single one. I feel like every movie is now fair game. Granted, this was 2 years ago, so Endgame wasn't out yet, so maybe it's not fair for me to say this, but I'm going to say it now since, it's in 2020, and maybe he's listening to this. Doubt it, but it's possible. Grabs the hammer. I am still worthy. That is character development. Hell, I would even argue Thanos developed quite a bit. When we first saw him in Avengers Assemble, destroy everyone. Not just half this time. Yeah. I think every character has developed in some way, shape, or form. I don't see how there's no character development. Now, in the villains, they did lack. I think it was Killmonger where they had their first villain that was actually pretty decent. I enjoy Ultron quite a bit, but that's just me. But I feel like the general public did not really care for an Avengers villain until Killmonger and Black Panther came out. And then, of course, Thanos. It's Thanos. And then, well, I guess the Spider-Man villains, too. Everyone really liked Vulture. Everyone really likes Mysterio. But yeah. So, as far as villains go, I can see. But saying that there was no character development and have a good script, I gotta disagree with you on. Alright. Flaming Amosexual here wants to say, I think the reason people defend them so much is because many people remember a time before superhero movies. The thing is, there is no happy medium, it seems. Interesting. Let's see what he means. I remember growing up, there were no blockbuster Marvel movies. There were no blockbuster superhero movies. There was Superman and eventually Batman. Okay, so those are superhero movies, so there were some. But carry on. I'm seeing what you mean. That's it. Thor, Captain America, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Black Panther, Avengers, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Ant-Man, Hulk, or Dr. Sleep seem to be reduced to cheesy shows or cartoons now. Oh, cartoons. Now? It seems every single studio wants to make up for the missed opportunities the past 40 years by cramming as much as they can in to make up for lost ground. I'm afraid people will eventually burn out. These movies will go away again. And, well, we'll have to wait every 5 to 10 years for a new one. So, He's thinking that Hollywood's just trying to make up. And that all the others were just cheesy shows from the other ones. Well, let me tell you. There's no way in hell you're going to do a Doctor Strange movie. Back in the days where it was really just a Batman or a Superman movie that you got. Also, comic books weren't cool then. They just weren't. You were a nerd if you liked comics. You weren't going to make money. At all. None. There were a Captain America movie. There is a Captain America movie. There is an Iron Man movie. There's an Incredible Hulk movie. From way back in the day. And they're garbage. There is an Avengers movie as well with a white Nick Fury. And it is garbage. All those movies are garbage because superhero movies were just different back then. So those, and you bring up Superman and Batman, which are actually kind of like, for what the times they are now. Granted, there is the Batman and Robin, and the Batman Forever. I think it's Batman Forever. I think that's the other Tim Burton one, right? Anyway. Those were garbage, but I would even argue then, those were pretty bad as well. They were just fine for what they were, because, like, we were okay. It's kind of like Batman, those Batman and Superman movies back in the day were basically what video game movies are now. Where the movie's just mindly entertaining. We're just like, you know what, that was pretty good. You know, like Sonic the Hedgehog. Overall, not that good of a movie. I enjoy it. I think it's fine for what it is. A video game movie, I'm like, you know what? Not bad for a video game movie. I enjoyed that quite a bit. But if I take the video game out of Sonic the Hedgehog and I just base it on the movie as it is, do I have a different tune? I don't know. I do not know. I think I probably do, in all honesty. But the fact that they're thinking that you're trying to make up for past 40 years, comics have been around way longer than that, my friend. Yeah, I really having a hard time. That's why I'm not really trying to like really go in on you, because I don't fully see it. Like, some things I do see is like, yeah, you can't do a Doctor Strange movie back then. So I can argue that. But I'm not really fully understanding what you mean by that. Because we did have an Iron Man movie. We had a Captain America movie. We may have had a Thor movie. I know we had an Incredible Hulk. I know we had that. And they were terrible. They were just received differently. We just like them now. And we have the money where we can actually make the movie that we want now. Back then it was super cheap. No one was going to make a $100 million movie back in the day. It was unheard of. I mean, sure, we live in the day now where, you know, movies, you know, make $100 million opening weekend like nothing. But it wasn't until Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, where we had our first movie make $100 million opening weekend. It was probably the first Spider-Man. Kind of think of it. Maybe it was the first Spider-Man, but I think it was Spider-Man 2. Oh no, it was Spider-Man 3! I was wrong on both. It was Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 2 was really well received. And that was the first movie to really have a $100 million opening weekend, I believe. So yeah, times just change. As we continue to go, movies are going to continue to get more expensive, and we're going to see a lot more crazy stuff. Alright. Let's go. Well, the name was deleted, so I guess the account was deleted. So we're just going to call him deleted. I am burnt out, to be honest. Alright. The only ones I've seen the last year were Logan and Wonder Woman. See, now we're just talking about superhero movies in general. So now we got to bring in DC into the conversation. And I think we can all agree all those movies are completely different from Marvel, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. But again, Logan is not an MCU movie. And neither were seen in theaters. So he has seen so many comic book movies that he's just tired of them. There's too much! They're taking over! To be perfectly honest, I didn't really like the first Avengers movie. So I haven't really followed most of the Marvel movies at all. So, to deleted, I would say, Wonder Woman's not Marvel, so she's her own separate thing, and Logan's not part of the MCU. Alright, now SWW1 writes, I agree with you. Marvel movies are overrated as hell! They all use the same old formula of jokes, fight scene, and crossover mentions with other heroes, who will have their own solo film in the future. To me, the only Marvel production I really like is the Daredevil series on Netflix. I really enjoyed season 1 of Daredevil. I found season 2 to be kind of boring, and I just did not watch season 3 at all. I think I came to the conclusion on this, and I really did feel like this. Maybe I did not enjoy Daredevil Season 1 as much as I think I did. I think the only reason I watched Daredevil Season 1 all the way through was because I wanted to see him in the suit. I wanted to see the actual Daredevil suit that was playing all the opening credits. I think I want to see him in this damn suit. Because the whole time he's wearing this black suit, and you know, the fight scenes are awesome. But I could not really remember anything else that really happened besides Kingpin. No other storyline. I know there was this chick and maybe him, her and the lawyer maybe get together, his friend anyway. I really cannot tell you anything besides Daredevil, besides the fights and Kingpin. But I do remember, I want to see him in this damn suit the whole entire time. Then I saw him in the suit, and then I started season 2. I was like, yeah, I saw him in the suit. I'm kind of over it. I'm not gonna lie. But you know, hey, it is dark and grittier, so you probably are more of a DC fan, and that's fine. But I won't say to make fun of other people for liking Marvel movies so much, because everyone can like their own thing. All right, and our last comment here is Marvel and whatever dumb comic book movies they keep puking out every week have ruined going to the movie theaters for me. Ooh. What few movies left that aren't that dumb bullshit are drowned out by it, and I've totally ruined out the movie industry. As a result, it sucks. This comes from our good friend, Conky Dong Country. Well, my friend, let me humble you real quick. Now, look, you are more than welcome to have your own opinion on whether to like Marvel movies or not. Or any superhero movie for them. They may not just be for you, and that is completely fine. But to say that they are completely taking over the movie industry is an absolute lie, my friend. Absolute lie. Because that's just not true. So, let's really break it down. There are 12 months in a year, right? Correct? So, in those 12 months, there's 52 weeks. Out of those 52 weeks, how many comic book movies do we come out? Do we really get? So since they're saying every other week, 52 divided by 2 is 21? Yeah, 21. That's 21 weeks. Because 52, 4. Nope, it's not. It's 26. Yeah, it's 12. Yeah, 5 minus 4. Anyway, I wasn't the best at math. I used to be really good at math, but now, hell, I'm horrible at it. 26 weeks. That's half. There's not 26 comic book movies coming out in a year. We get 4 to 6. So 4 to 6 weeks of 52, we get a comic book movie. So no, they're not taking over. They're not. 52 weeks, you get 4 comic book movies. 4 of those weeks are for comic book movies. Some of them are in the same month. Most of them, if not all of them, are in the summer. So that means you get January, February. March is technically where summer begins, and August is where it ends. So March, April, May, June, and July, those 5 months out of the 12, you may get a comic book movie. And in those 5 months, it's only for 4 weeks out of those 5 months. And then you have September, October, November, December. That just aren't comic book movies, for the most part. That's just, average for when they come out and all that. So no, they're not taking over the movie industry. They just get the most buzz. And rightfully so. ESPN is not going to talk about basketball and not talk about LeBron James, because he is the name and face of the franchise. He draws in ratings. The NFL's not going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. They are the #1 franchise in the whole entire world. Most profitable of all time. Hockey doesn't really have that star, which is why they don't get that much mainstream attention. There's hockey fans. I enjoy hockey. Go Blackhawks. But they don't have that team. They don't have that star to really bring them in. The movies have Marvel movies. They have superhero movies. They run the show right now. In the 80s, it was all about the action film. The Terminators with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Rambo with Sylvester Stallone. And I'm sure others as well. Like the 80s, they were doing some wild stuff back then. Alien, Predator, all that. Action movies ran the show back then. It's just Marvel's time. I think in the 70s is when it was like prime horror, when horror was really, you know, the end-all be-all of cinema. And then it was action, and now it's Marvel. I do believe superhero movies are on the verge of being the end, because after Endgame, I do feel like a lot of people are burnt out. And this is the conversation that's being brought up a lot more. I actually saw a post about this, you know, about the pandemic, like, we almost went a whole year without a Marvel movie. It's like, yeah! I'm like, wow, I'm surprised as many people aren't that fans of it. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on it. As for the article itself and not the comments, you know what? He did pretty good. He makes some very strong points. However, towards the end, he kind of fell apart when he brought in other Marvel properties. He may have not known about it, but it really crumbles it. It really changes the argument of, are they all the same? Because he was doing well, because in tone-wise, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yes, I can agree, for the most part, the tone-wise and how they feel are pretty much the same. Although I would agree that disagree that every movie is its own different kind of genre, if you really think about it, if you go from movie to movie to movie. But when he brought in Logan and then all these other ones, because Deadpool's not like an MCU movie, Logan is definitely not. The X-Men movies, definitely not. The Spider-Man movies, definitely not. Completely overshadows it. So that takes it from a freshly squeezed lemonade to a lemonade for our friend Synth X. As for the comments, overall, out of all of them, store-bought. Store-bought. Some good points, but some of them are just like, they're just angry at superhero movies for taking over. Sorry, they're the best. They're Tom Brady. That's another thing the NFL will not talk about. That's the two things. I get every time there's a show on with the NFL. You can guarantee these two topics. Dallas Cowboys, Tom Brady. And the Tom Brady story is always like, yeah, Tom Brady went outside, but he picked up with his right arm. Is his left hand hurt? Like, it's something like that with Brady. But anyway, I'm pretty sure not most of y'all really care for sports that much, but whatever. So yeah, that is it for our first debate episode. Let me know what y'all think about it. Went on a little longer than I thought it would, so we'll see how many people actually watch, since my channel is pretty small. But if y'all liked it, leave a like, comment, start a debate, but be respectful, be good people. Please be good people. Just let them argue it, what you like, what you don't like. I don't like Marvel movies because of this. I like Marvel movies because of this. I see your point here, but I disagree here. Don't be rude. Don't belittle someone for liking something. Don't yuck people's yum. Come on now. Subscribe, because I'm pretty sure I'll do more more debates, because I actually really enjoyed this episode. I had fun with this quite a bit. This was probably my most fun episode to do, personally, for me. So yeah, that'll be it for me, guys. See y'all.